Welcome to The Binge. Tonight, we're taking you to the edge of the Atlantic, early 20th century, where lighthouses weren't just guiding ships, they were watching. Keepers logging impossible lights, vanishing ships, strange electrical disturbances. Observations dismissed as fog, hallucination, or sailor superstition. But when you layer the logs, the correspondence, the telegrams, a pattern emerges. Not chaos, not randomness, a system, a network, something nudging reality ever so slightly, testing, observing, running simulations in real time, and the men keeping the lights, they had no idea. So, lean in, pay attention, and maybe look over your shoulder once in a while because the world has been watching you for a lot longer than you think. This is The Binge.
It's the Binge Podcast where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast.
The year was 1901, and the North Atlantic was a godless mess of wind and water. Waves like living walls, clouds that looked as though someone had stitched black velvet across the sky. Off the coast of Newfoundland, a lighthouse perched on a jagged cliff, stubborn as sin, refusing to bow to storms or tides or the men who kept it running. Its name was Cape Spear. Though that's irrelevant. The story isn't about geography. It's about observation, surveillance, and the inexplicable decisions humans make when they're staring into infinite, uncaring space. Lighthouses, in theory, are simple. They warn ships away from rocks. They flash patterns to prevent collisions. They do a job and go home. But in 1901, Cape Spear became more than a warning signal. It became a witness, an interface between human ambition and the unknowable chaos of the ocean. Keepers recorded daily logbooks, meticulous entries of light rotations, wind speeds, ship traffic, and oddities. Oddities that, if you read them closely, don't make sense. Ships appearing where they shouldn't. Lights in the fog that didn't match any vessel. Sounds recorded on paper, metallic, clanging whispers of voices even. On occasion, explosions that left no wreckage behind. By all rights, these could be dismissed. Fog can play tricks. The mind can play tricks. But there's something in the historical record. For decades, every lighthouse along that stretch of the Atlantic logged the same kind of anomalies. Ships that vanished, only to reappear hours later in impossible positions. Streaks of light that moved faster than any known vessel. Electrical disturbances that knocked telegraph systems offline for minutes, sometimes hours. And while the keepers were men of their word, disciplined and sober, the patterns persisted. Then there's the human element. The lighthouse keepers themselves. Men obsessed with routine, yet drawn inexplicably toward the strange. Captain James Ball, for example, keeper from 1904 to 1910, recorded in his personal log on August 7th, 1907, saw a light moving contrary to all currents. Impossible course. Compasses spun, weighed anchor twice. Crew murmured of ghosts or gods. I saw neither, but I recorded everything. Ball wasn't a drunk or a fantasist. He was a soldier in another life, precise, disciplined, trained to measure, to document, to notice details that most of us miss. And yet he couldn't explain what he saw, nor could the other keepers along the Atlantic spine. Conspiracies start here. Not the made-up kind with aliens and Area 51, but subtle, almost bureaucratic conspiracies. Governments quietly funded lighthouse logs, supposedly for navigation and safety. Yet some documents, recently declassified, hint at a secondary purpose. Observation of atmospheric phenomena, anomalies, and unidentified aerial activity, as they began calling it in the 1920s. The U.S. Coast Guard, the Royal Navy, even the Dominion of Newfoundland were monitoring patterns, trying to classify them, trying to predict them. They had a name for impossible events: maritime temporal anomalies. The files are dry, clinical, but if you read between the lines, the data is staggering. Hundreds of anomalies logged over decades, only partially explained, many inexplicable. And it's here you start to see the simulation, or something like it, because no one Lighthouse, no single observer, recorded everything. But when you overlay Cape Spear, Cape Race, St. John's, and a dozen of smaller outposts, patterns emerge. Light streaks traveling in impossible arcs, vanishing ships appearing on schedules that make no sense, electrical anomalies clustering around certain times and coordinates, not random, not chaotic, algorithmic, patterned, almost as though some unseen hand was running a model, nudging the ocean, nudging the sky, nudging human perception to see and record exactly what was needed. Add to that the human error. Oh, it's subtle. Crew members noticing oddities, but discarding them, thinking they're hallucinations. Logs missing pages, telegraph messages corrupted. Yet the anomalies persist in other logs, repeated, corroborated, consistent enough to suggest someone, somewhere, was making sure the data got recorded, but not too clearly. The lighthouse becomes a node, a sensor, a witness to something the rest of the world isn't ready to see. And when you read the accounts, especially letters and diaries tucked into museum archives, you realize this. People noticed. Men like Ball and his peers, who spent decades watching the sea, cataloging patterns, noticing regularities that were impossible, started theorizing quietly about the nature of their world. Some thought it was supernatural. Some thought it was extraterrestrial. Some whispered about interdimensional phenomena. But one thing was consistent. The world they observed didn't behave according to their training, their physics, their expectations. It was a system bending its own rules. This isn't fiction. This is the Atlantic, early 20th century. Men documenting anomalies that modern historians often dismiss as folklore. But the raw data, the logs, the correspondence, the electrical readings, the observational reports exists. And if you stare at it long enough, something begins to emerge. A world structured, monitored, nudged, and patterned in ways that humans couldn't understand at the time. A system with rules that bent reality ever so slightly. Just enough to make you question, was the ocean alive? Were the skies conscious? Or was the lighthouse itself part of some grander unknown simulation, running a program humans were only beginning to perceive? Every night the light flashed. Every night someone watched. And sometimes, when the fog lifted and the wind stilled, the world felt like it wasn't quite real. Like reality itself was an interface. And the keepers, these disciplined, meticulous men, were the first unwitting participants. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe.
Tune in right now. Got stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this. We laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast. Right now, got stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat. It's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast. Come join us fast. everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast, come join us fast. Tune in right now, got stories to tell, from the small to the grand, all under one spell. We talk about this, we laugh about that, from the strange to the bliss. Get ready to chat, it's the Binge Podcast, where everything's a blast. It's the Binge Podcast, come join us fast.